All right, and let's keep it moving, guys. Let's keep this train going here. Let's talk some under the lights. And yeah, so the first kickoff game of the season here. You have the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Arrowhead Stadium to play the defending Kansas City Chiefs.
Woo!
Ooh.
Should be a good game though.
Should be, yeah. They picked a good one. They picked a good one. They picked an AFC Championship game rematch from a season ago. Kansas City is currently a 3-point favorite in this one, and the over/under sits at 46.5. Like I mentioned, these two teams met last January. Very competitive game. 17-10 final. Actually, only 3 total points were scored in the second half of that contest. If you remember, the Chiefs, as great as they were shut out over the final 2 quarters of that game, but their defense came through in a big way, really throughout the entire playoff run, but especially in this game, and just held the Ravens to only 3 points. But yeah, Kansas City working in some new pieces on offense. Actually saw them drop this opener last season, Aaron. If you remember,
Oh
so the
yeah.
Detroit Lions who came in kind of started in a good season for them. So that's the game we got going on here, boys. Aaron, it's your team. Your team's the defending champs. How do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a good slate to kick off the football season. I think Chiefs Ravens I mean they're equally, talented on defense. I think that's going to be a big part of both sides of the ball. I think as I've said a lot with Ravens games, I think if Ravens can get up on teams, they obviously are a lot stronger. So I mean, and Chiefs usually want to defer, to start the game off to give Mahomes the ball at halftime, right? So I think if that plays out, if they can force Baltimore 3-and-out early, I think it could be some bad news for Baltimore. But I do think if they're playing from the league lead, I mean this -3 spread, 3-point spread, I think can go either way. So we're probably looking at a 20-23, score overall. So of course, I'm not gonna, say too many guesses here with my team. I don't like jinxing my team, but I do think it'll be pretty competitive. Um, but yeah, I'm excited to see the new offense this year with the Chiefs. A little down that we don't see Hollywood week 1, but we'll see if Andy Reid's got some tricks up his sleeve here in week 1.
Yeah, we'll see what Andy Reid's been cooking up other than a big old bacon cheeseburger over the last 7 or 8 months here. Ethan, what do you think about this matchup here for to get the season going?
I mean, what a matchup to kick off the NFL season. Chiefs, Ravens. It's an awesome real life football game. It's awesome for fantasy. It's awesome for DFS. It's awesome for everything. So, looking very much forward to that. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to come away with this one. I don't like betting against the Chiefs. They're just too good of a football team. To Aaron's point, it would have been really cool to see Hollywood Brown out there against his former team. And I think the Chiefs are going to miss him a little bit in this contest. Mahomes and him had some pretty good rapport so far in camp, and he's the veteran presence that I think that receiving core needs, or at least help. But yeah, I think Kansas City's going to come out on top. They're playing at home, and they're defending 2-time back-to-back Super Bowl champions the last couple of years. So I think they'll come out hot.
Aaron, we know you agree. I'm not going to ask you who you think is going to win the game. We know what you're going to say. We decked out in your Chiefs gear over there. I'm actually going to go a little bit slightly different here. I think Baltimore has had since January here, so we're going on 8 months of them just sitting around being like, we let one go at home last year. Our defense played lights out, gave us an opportunity. We didn't get it done. There's a lot of motivation on that side coming into this game. I actually like the value on Baltimore on the money line at plus 130. So if I was going to bet the game, I'm more likely to do that than I am to take the Chiefs on the money line at minus 155, 160, depending on where you get it. So even if you're willing to juice the lineup for Baltimore a little bit, maybe minus 1.5, minus 2.5, you're probably looking at closer to 150, 160 odds to go that direction. I think that Baltimore is a good enough football team on both sides to give Kansas City a game where I think that the value could be there if you want to grab the Ravens on the money line. So that's kind of just how I see that part of it playing out. But it's going to be interesting for sure. Probably going to be a good game, and I'm looking forward to it. But let's get into the DFS side of this thing, guys, where we talk our captains lineups. We essentially, these matchups are 6-player lineups on DraftKings that you pick, 6 guys at a salary. There's a salary cap and you put them into your lineup, your captain, the amount of points they score is actually 1.5 multiplied by 1.5, which is great because they score more than they normally would, but they cost 1.5 times the money to get that person into your captain slot. So you got to be really, really careful who you put in there, as it can get expensive quickly for the high profile guys. But Aaron, we'll go to you again. This is your game, man. Your team's dropping a banner here, so you get to go first all the way through this episode here. So who's your captain? Who are you sneaking into that spot for you in week one?
All right, so it may surprise you guys. I'm not going with a Chiefs player as my captain. I'm actually going to go Mark Andrews as my captain. He's 9,600 this week. He's not even top three, most expensive. I want to say he's like fifth or sixth, down the list there. So I like the value at Mark Andrews. Just kind of looking at that matchup. The Chiefs play man defense, second most in the league in 2023. Their defense scheme's not really changing. And Andrews has a 91 PFF grade against man defense. So I think Andrews can get some nice chunk plays against the Chiefs to kind of keep it interesting. So I definitely like Andrews this week, and it does afford you to get your Mahomes, and obviously I do have people like Pacheco in there too, but I do like Andrews' value this week in this matchup.
Me too. Absolutely love it. He's the sixth most expensive captain on the slate, but for under 10K at 9,600, he's actually a relative value in that spot, which is why he's also my captain for this week. Super high on Andrews this season as a whole. He enters as the league as my tight end number 2 on the season. I think he's going to be up there pushing for the top spot overall. Still in the prime of his career. Lamar loves him, especially in the red zone. I love this call, Aaron. I'm with you here. Going Mark Andrews as my captain. Ethan, what are your thoughts on that, and who are you going with?
No, I like to call a lot. I have Andrews in my lineup. He's not my captain. I am very high on Andrews this year. I try to get him a lot in redraft. He was falling a lot further down the board than he has in previous years. So he was a value there and a value here in this DFS slate. But I'm going to go with another one of my guys that I'm very high on this year. I think he has a chance to be a top 15 receiver in fantasy, and that's Rashee Rice at 11,400. I just think Rashee Rice, with Hollywood Brown out for this game, I honestly think he is going to be for the season the leading target earner in this offense, even over Kelsey. I think Kelsey. I mean, we've seen a steady decline. Obviously, when it matters most in the playoffs, he kind of turns it on. I just think the Chiefs are going to like to limit his snaps, and I just think Rashee Rice is going to step into that prominent wide receiver one role. He's going to hang on to that for the season. I think he's definitely going to have that in week one in their first preseason game with all their starters playing anyways. I mean, he had 4 catches for 35 yards right off the rip. I just think Mahomes is going to look at him early and often, and I just think he's going to have a phenomenal year. So I'm very excited to get him into my lineup in week one in DFS, and is why I put him at my captain spot.
Aaron, try to take the Chiefs footy pajamas off for 1 second and be objective here. Is Rashee Rice going to be a top 10 receiver this year?
I said top 15. Oh, it's the top
Ooh,
15.
15.
Yeah.
You know,
He's not really fully ready to say it, but he wants to say he was high on him.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not as high. I think Ethan actually is a bigger Rashee Rice fan than I am. I mean, just watching the Chiefs season last year, it could just be kind of being I guess a little spoiled over the years before 2023 has seen a little bit more high flying offense. So Rashee Rice kind of, I guess was a good outcome last year for the Chiefs, but I want to call him like saving grace. So I really am looking forward to Mahomes opening up with deeper passes, which we haven't really seen Rashee Rice do as much in his rookie season. So I'm not huge on him, but I do want to see him take a step in that aspect this year. So I mean I hope Ethan's right, but he's got to prove it to me first.
I mean, the thing with Rashee Rice is like he was a rookie last year, and it's not like he was this first round pick out of some major school. He went to SMU. They drafted him in the second round, and he didn't really play over like 70% of the snaps until like week 14. And before that, it was anywhere from like, I don't know, 40, 50. So it was a steady increase. And towards the end of the season, he was a mainstay. And I expect, obviously, to him to be a mainstay right off the rip this year, going to his second year. I think I would assume there's going to be some progression in his game, more rapport with Patrick Mahomes going into year two. So I just think it's wheels up for Rashee Rice.
Yeah, it could be. I think he's as upside. Obviously, it's a high scoring offense, so the touchdown totals could be there. Um, Obviously, the big red flag for him was his average depth of target, his A dot. I mean, it was under 5 yards last season, 4.8, actually 99th in the league, so just barely in the top 100. 70% of his receiving yards came after the catch, which there's nothing wrong with that necessarily. I mean, if you can get the ball into guys' hands and he can do the work, I mean, that's fine. I mean, someone like Debo Samuel, who has made a career off of doing that, and that's been really good for fantasy. So if you had Debo Samuel in the past, you were smart and you didn't care about those type of things. So I guess if you're gonna, you kind of have to hope that Rashee Rice turns into something like Debo, especially now that there are more pass catchers to contend with in Kansas City. So, but Aaron said he's spoiled and he has just a glutton of weapons where we can sit here and discuss, which Chiefs player is going to, be a top 10 or 15 or whatever at their respective positions from fantasy purposes. So, but let's round here into our bargain section of this. Our captain's obviously the like someone you have to pay up 1.5 times your investment to get them into your lineup, so you inevitably have to cheap out somewhere. And I'm going to go with the receiver that Ethan should have been talking up here, and that's Xavier Worthy for $5,800. Hollywood Brown, like we said, doubtful to play in this game, so the field stretching role should go to Xavier Worthy. This is the position the Chiefs wanted to address, like we mentioned. So Worthy, as we know, he's got that 4.2 speed. He's a home run cut in your lineup here in his first NFL game, but it's the type of move I wanted to take for less than $6,000. And I'll just hope that he can come out firing on all cylinders right out of the gate. And in worst case, maybe he catches one long big chunk play and hopefully ends up in the end zone. So I got my guy Xavier Worthy. Aaron, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I like that call. I think in my lineup, just as a heads up, I think that's what Mark Andrews affords you is Worthy as my cheapest play in my Andrews lineup. So definitely my cheapest player there. I do have two lineups this week, so I do have that's my safer one. I do have like more of the tournament style where I'm just swinging for the fences. So I'll say a different player. And my sleeper candidate value play is going to be McCole Hardman. So I actually have a lineup. I got Hardman as my sleeper, and I got the big wigs. I got Lamar, Mahomes, Pacheco, Henry in that lineup. So if I think Hardman does share time with my old boy Justin Watson at Watson for the third wide receiver position. But yeah, I think it's the third wide receiver in week one is up for grabs, and I think Hardman joining with the Chiefs last year showed he fell into that really quickly. So I think he's going to get at least two to three deep shots in the game against Baltimore and open the field up. So I really like taking a shot at McColl in a lineup you just want to go downtown with.
You can't quit McCole there. You can't quit him.
No, hey, Super Bowl hero there.
We got to get Aaron an intervention on Mecole Hardman because
Oh
whenever
my
you put him
God.
in your lineup, you're really rolling those dice,
It,
hoping for snake eyes.
Yeah, I think Aaron's going to see a big goose egg in his lineup when he looks at the stat sheet Friday morning with McCole Hardman. I agree with the commish here. Xavier Worthy, I think, is just a screaming value, especially for those tournament plays. Xavier Worthy has all the talent in the world. He showed a lot in the preseason. We'll see if he can transition that into the regular season. But it's hard not to go with that upside for that price point.
Hell yeah, we're swinging for the fences with Worthy, and we'll hope that he makes a name for himself right out of the gate. And the gates are about to open here on the NFL season here for us guys. So it's a long off season in the NFL, and we were here every week for you in the off season, and we're going to continue to be here for you every week. Make sure you're checking out all of our content, whether it's DFS related, main slate, Thursday night under the lights sections, or just following along with general redraft content. We're going to talk some start sits. We're going to get into some game recaps this season. So just branching out a little bit more than just DFS in season. But we're really happy. We're really looking forward to all that, folks. But until next time, peace.